The pathless path is the effortless recognition that the seeker is already one with its destination and end goal. There is no linear line that takes us to what we already are. The pathless path embodies absolute truth by pointing directly to the truth of our being, often through pure awareness and radical insight. This subject can get super complex, but in this video, I'm just going to use these two umbrella terms to categorize the two paths that spiritual seekers find themselves drawn to. Firstly, we have the structured path, and then we have the pathless path. Though these paths are not totally black and white, we could consider the structured path to be more yang, rajasic, movement, effort, progressive, and dualistic based. And the pathless path is more yin, tamasic, stillness, effortless, now non-dual based. The more structured spiritual paths teach a technique or a method to follow. They offer a progressive, step-by-step process of purification to take one to the end goal. The end goal being self-realization. So the structured paths lead eventually to the pathless path where one has built the appropriate foundations. The pathless path, on the other hand, awakens us directly into the absolute truth, that there is no path to truth because we are truth, and what we place outside of ourselves as an end goal is actually here right now. It is just masked by layers of illusion. The paradox of the pathless path lies within the very impossibility of a journey. There is no path to follow because there is nowhere to go beyond this moment, beyond the present moment. So the seeker discovers that the destination is not ahead, but it has always been here, inseparable from themselves. Generally speaking, the structured path is great at unwinding worldly conditioning, helping us peel back layers of habit, belief, and identity shaped by society. It aids in our healing and personal transformation through an alchemical process. The pathless path, on the other hand, disidentifies us from the limited sense of self, awakening us straight into the absolute truth of our being, where we deeply realize that the seeker and the sought are ultimately the same. Now, it can be easy to conjure up ideas in the mind that one path is better than the other, or one is right and one is wrong, but all paths have their place. Some may just argue that perhaps the non-dual pathless paths are more attractive to souls that have had a fair few lifetimes, maybe the older souls, if you will, just because these paths are primarily focused on enlightenment. So we have so many spiritual traditions that are available to us, and I'm going to mention them in a second, just some of them obviously, and some of these paths may be considered more structured based and others are more pathless path based. When we consider established spiritual traditions, it's not necessarily black and white as to which path they fall into, because the structured spiritual paths often carry the essence of the pathless paths. And the pathless paths, they offer more structured approaches sometimes to actually guide the seeker into these pure awareness states and these realizations. So they generally, all the paths, they generally hold the other within them too. And even when we consider very structured, organized religions, the pathless path is often preserved in their esoteric branches. Some examples of the more structured approach paths are yoga, Taoist in alchemy, Hermeticism, and organized religions, and so on. And some examples of more pathless path approaches would be Advaita Vedanta, classical Taoism, Dzogchen in Tibetan Buddhism, Zen Buddhism. It's also important to mention that we have many neutral spiritual teachers that pop up, such as Eckhart Tolle and Krishnamurti,
that do not have an affiliation with any particular religious or spiritual tradition, but teach mainly pathless paths to the truth.
Why we feel resonance towards certain paths, I feel, is a matter of personal soul mission. I actually heard someone ask this very question in Gangama's satsang here in Tiruvannamalai, and she said that our path in our lifetime is the result of our unique samskaras. So these samskaras, they are subtle imprints from past experiences that shape our inclinations and longings. So this kind of suggests that perhaps life just guides us because of universal law or whatever. Life guides us in a way that suits our inner patterns best at any moment.
So, if we have a resonance with a certain path, it's because it's for us. We needn't worry if we are ready for it or not, or if we're on the wrong path or the right path. We just need to follow our hearts, follow our bliss, in the words of Joseph Campbell. The only thing that's worth considering, in my opinion, is that both paths have their shadows. No path doesn't have its imperfections and its traps, where the ego will use our spiritual pursuits as leverage to come in through the back door, so to speak, and make an identity out of it. Whether you're a non dualist identified with a pure awareness persona, or a high level yogi or Qigong Tai Chi master with an identity around that.
As for my personal journey, you can probably tell from the themes on this YouTube channel that I absolutely love this notion of just burning all the maps to get anywhere and to just abide as the self, to be at home in the moment with the reflection of the sun on the water and the sound of the wind in the leaves, and to just totally embody presence and truth. And saying, I'm not this, I'm not that, I'm not my thoughts, I'm not my emotions, just peeling back these layers of the illusory self to really get in there at the core. And I love how the pathless path emphasizes presence, not progress, effortlessness rather than effort.
It is a witnessing of the world through witness consciousness and awakening this sense of being a character in a grand play. Just watching yourself go through this experience and sensing that you are much bigger than the mind made self. Sensing that an unchanging, consistent, pure awareness within is ever present and contains everything else within it. It is so freeing to just relinquish everything.
So yes, at this point personally in my life, I absolutely adore pathless path teachings, especially things like Taoism and Advaita. Having said that, this could change. It could change for all of us at any moment. I feel like we have to be really open to that. Now, yes, having said all of this, I actually am very eclectic and I really like to create a balance. This is what I aim for. And, I see the value in more structured approaches. I'm just not really committed to one of those structured paths. But I like to just kind of pick and choose from them and apply the appropriate amount of effort. Because these sorts of structured path sort of tools that we have available to us, I find really lay down a foundation for the pathless path teachings. So, for example, I absolutely adore Qigong and various yoga practices. I like to experiment with things like hermetic mental alchemy and breath work and shadow work and just all these amazing tools that we have. So, yes, maybe one day I will let everything go. I'll let all the structured approaches go and I'll just abide in pure awareness. But right now, I just really love how I live at this time where, I have so much of the wisdom from the ages to choose from. And I just love to create my own sort of intuitive based path from moment to moment. So, yeah. What about you? That's me. What about you? I'm really interested to know about, yeah, what you're drawn to, how you create your personal spiritual seeking journey. And yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. My name is Jasmine. If you like this kind of content, please like and subscribe, and really look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye 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 bye.